It's hitting so hard, it's so virulent that in Oklahoma there are now new high-tech tools in the battle against flu. The computer system originally designed to warn of a bioterror attack, and we thought you'd like to see it. So joining us now from Oklahoma City is Frank Gresh, Communications Director of the area's Emergency Medical Services Authority. And we thank you, Mr. Gresh, for being with us. So as I understand it, this is a system that in a bioterror attack would monitor 911 calls and the kinds of symptoms people were reporting, say, for anthrax, but in this case it's flu, right? And this is high fever. What else?
That's right, Diane. Yes, this system is actually simply put as the smoke detector for bioterrorism events, bioterrorism attacks, but it's also helping us from a public health standpoint in identifying early on that the flu epidemic was hitting in large proportions.
Okay, show me some of these clusters now on the screen and how they guide you. And I know one of the things you do is alert communities that are on the leading edge that it's coming their way, get the ambulances and emergency services ready. Show us the clusters.
That's true, Diane. What we've got on the screen right here is a graphical representation. Those little triangles that you're able to see there actually show where the incidences of flu-like symptoms and respiratory problems and other types of calls have been reported. And when we're able to look at those, we're able to determine where in the city those are occurring and, if necessary, redeploy resources or do the things that are necessary to make sure that we get the necessary resources to those people in those communities.
And the clusters show you the direction it's moving?
No, not necessarily the direction that it's moving. We really don't have that level of a graphical representation of it because that would probably take a lot longer of a period of time. We're looking at very short periods and very short snapshots of time here to give us a better idea of what's going on at this moment.
Now, this system sent out the first flu alert on November the 20th. I wonder how this helped you, because your resources are pretty strained there, aren't you?
Yeah, absolutely. One of the things that happened when we got that first alert on the 20th was we began looking at how our staffing resources and how our personnel resources were available and making sure that we had the additional people that were necessary, staffing additional ambulances as required, and making sure that we had the resources out there. So this FirstWatch alert gave us an opportunity to be better prepared as the flu got worse and worse and will continue to get worse this season.
Okay, well, we thank you so much, Mr. Gresh. Really appreciate a chance to check in on it. Nice to know that there's a new system that can at least let the emergency services know what's coming.
This is Local 8 News at 4.
Yeah,
sure.
The city of San Diego now has a new weapon to fight bioterrorism. It's a state-of-the-art computer system that will help authorities pinpoint a disaster, and we're the first city in the state to use it. From anthrax to smallpox, cities across the country call it their #1 terror threat, bioterrorism. And now San Diego has what's considered the best early detection tool, a software program known as FirstWatch.
Clinic 26, it'll be a level 3, a no-code response.
The system tracks 911 calls at the dispatch center in Kearney Mesa. It's not quite smart enough to say, hey, you've got a smallpox outbreak. What it does do is search for unusual spikes in medical complaints coming from the same area.
Breathing problems, chest pains, anything that might suggest any kind of bioterrorism attack or any other kind of medical emergency in the community. When the early warning system spots something unusual, it will automatically notify emergency personnel who will then be dispatched to determine the nature of the emergency.
This software will help us do that. It'll give us a leg up, if you will, on similar incidents occurring in the community and give us a chance to manage them more effectively.
And FirstWatch isn't just effective against bioterrorism. It can track flu outbreaks and even epidemics such as SARS.
I need to stress to the public that there is no evidence that San Diego is a target of any bioterrorism. But constant vigilance is the price of liberty, and FirstWatch will enhance our city's ability to be constantly vigilant.
And it turns out FirstWatch was designed by an Encinitas company. It cost $20,000 to install the software in San Diego. The bill paid with federal money from the Department of Homeland Security.
This is 10 News live at 6:30.
San Diego is the first place in the state to have a computer program that will alert authorities of possible illness outbreaks, including bioterrorism attacks. FirstWatch was installed at San Diego's 911 dispatch center. It's a state-of-the-art computer program that searches 911 calls for signs of biological attack or unusual outbreaks of disease. The system then alerts authorities of something unusual happening, such as a mass of similar calls from the same area.
It could be that there's some type of a chemical exposure going on that's an area that we need to have evacuated. We'll know that sooner now.
The FirstWatch system is paid for by a state Homeland Security grant.
You're watching Fox 6 News.
San Diego now has an early warning system to detect any outbreaks of illness or even bioterrorism. Fox 6 News reporter Denise Menard explains how this could be the city's first new line of defense.
She seemed completely awake and alert.
Engine 35 with medic 41.
San Diego engine 10. From 35, you have medic rescue 24 responding.
It's called FirstWatch, and the city of San Diego is the first city in California to have it.
The software in this computer-aided dispatch system will put up on the screen, you've got a problem here. We're having similar types of incidents. You need to look into it.
The software is designed to alert authorities of illness outbreaks, including bioterrorism attacks.
Let's talk about a flu outbreak. Let's talk about 50 people call in a 5-hour window that say I have a temperature that's reading above 103 degrees. We're going to know about that.
FirstWatch works by tracking 911 calls, searching for any unusual spikes in medical complaints.
There's no way we could possibly prepare for every incident that can occur in this community, but this is one more step to allow us to recognize something may or may not be happening in the city of San Diego.
The new detection tool monitors all dispatcher entries 7 days a week, 24 hours a day, combining up-to-the-minute information.
In our scenario, every 1 minute we're going to be refreshed on our screen if we're getting the same types of calls.
Not only will the citizens of San Diego be safer, but they will also be happy to know the BioAlert system is being paid for through a Homeland Security grant. In Kearney Mesa, Denise Menard, Fox 6 News.
Identifying an outbreak of a foodborne illness, it's something 911 dispatchers in San Diego are capable of doing tonight. San Diego is the first city in the state to be protected by a software program designed to alert authorities of possible illness outbreaks, including a bioterrorism attack.
Okay, so that's what set the alarm off.
911 dispatchers answer calls 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Working independently, they enter the nature of the calls into a computer. Now, thanks to a new software program called FirstWatch, 911 calls are tracked for any unusual spikes in certain occurrences.
Is this the second incident? We already have one call down there.
Or medical complaints.
Breathing problems, chest pains, anything that might suggest any kind of bioterrorism attack or any other kind of medical emergency in the community.
Is she changing color at all?
FirstWatch is an early detection tool. It doesn't identify the cause of the problem. It just alerts emergency personnel to unusual call patterns.
The goal in any kind of illness outbreak is to quickly react, to identify what's happening, to isolate any kind of disease, and to notify the public.
The software was purchased with Homeland Security funds. Mayor Dick Murphy says there's no reason for alarm.
There is no evidence that San Diego is a target of any bioterrorism. But constant vigilance is the price of liberty.
It looks like we've already cleared from there.
The city calls FirstWatch a new layer of security. The software was developed 4 years ago and is now being used in cities in 8 states.
Well, tomorrow marks the second year since the 9/11 attacks, and security hasn't been the same. Well, now Pinellas County is taking it one step further. It's implementing a new safety system, one of the first in the world. 10 News reporter Kim McIntyre joins us live from Largo to explain how it works. Hi, Kim.
Hi, Heather. Well, you remember in those first few hours after the September 11th attacks, there was a lot of confusion going on. Basically, the only people that knew what was happening were the people that were actually down at ground zero. Well, with this new system, FirstWatch, it will help alert people that need to be in the know, that need to get those medical crews and those emergency crews organized a lot faster. When the 911 call comes into the emergency dispatch center, any call that an ambulance is sent out on is tracked. A record is compiled automatically on where there is some trouble. When the system receives many calls to that same area, An alert is sent out by pager, fax, and or email to the heads of the Department of Health, medical directors, EMS, and fire administration. The alert signifies something unusual is going on in that particular area that is worth investigating. An example is a breakout in the Norwalk virus at a senior center last year. Instead of days for the pattern to materialize with manual analysis, officials using FirstWatch could have responded within hours.
It keys our suspicion much earlier than we used to have our suspicion about potential public health crises. And that's what we find as the most value in this.
All of these kinds of systems that we now have available to us potentially have not been used in the past simply because there was no money in the public health system to support this need. 9/11/2001 focused our attention on this area, and certainly the anthrax mailings that followed focused our attention in this area.
Now, officials tell me that FirstWatch can be modified. Not only will it track a chemical attack, but it can also look at things such as diseases or even drownings in a particular area. Back to you, Heather and John.
All right, thank you, Kim. And it will be interesting to see if other counties follow suit.
Exactly.